There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, GuMPers.
Hey, hola, bon dia, alegria. It's Feel Good Friday. How are you this morning? Tudo bem? Como estás? Great to be here on this Friday. Yep, we got the after show party. Actually, I didn't download that little slide. I wanted to show you my slide of the after show party, which is coming up at 10 for all the supporter GuMPers. By way of saying thank you. Oh, let's have a look at that supporter leaderboard this morning as well. So many things to include. Not least, Mrs. M might be popping in. Bit of a busy morning here at Casamunson, but certainly, I say certainly, hopefully at 9 o'clock this morning, 0900 hours, we will have Uncle Frank joining us from the Algarve. Still to decide, actually, the Algarve, capital T or not? Is it capital T, the Algarve, or the Algarve? I wonder. I write it many times. And I still hesitate each time because I'm not sure quite how to do that. Perhaps an expert could settle that once and for all this morning. Thank you, James, for your picture of beautiful Ericeira. What an amazing country we live in. I took it. You can share it. How about that? I took it. You can share it. Bon fin de semana. That sounds like a bit of Yogi Berra, which I dare say we have a bit of this morning as well. So 2 lovely pictures. I'm going to slow down. I think I've been gabbling in these last couple of weeks, or is it 3 weeks now? Since the independent republic of the Good Morning Portugal show. So I'm going to breathe a little bit more. Always useful, isn't it? Coach Turner was telling us that. And of course, Phil Cooklin. Whoop, whoop. Phil Cooklin, Kuwudu's Phil Cooklin. Great to have you in the country, both of you. We were talking about the benefits of breathing, so maybe a little more easygoing this morning. And then, getting excited at 10 o'clock for the after show party. All of you who are good enough to... it just sounds a bit judgmental, doesn't it? But I'm very grateful. Let me find the best way of putting this. This is a community contributed show. Everybody does their bit here, and the supporter GuMPers who put their hands in their pockets and contribute. As you can see, if you go to coffee.com/GMP, there's ways of supporting the show. Now it is independent, and some of you have done that in recent times, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the after show party on a Friday, and a good opportunity to say what you like, don't like, what you think could be added, whether there should be more or less beach buttocks in the news video, for example. These 2 lovely pictures then this morning. Thank you so much. Look at this. Anna sent me this fairly late last night, actually. That's not a complaint. It's just a fact. How happy view, she says, question mark. I feel privileged. Boa noite. It's so lovely to be able to share that, right? Look, wonderful picture from Villarreal Sant Antonio in the Algarve, capital T or not. And then this one this morning, not a complete coincidence that 2 of our lovely GuMPers here should share their pictures of gratitude, really, of being here. And James saying, of course, here, what an amazing country we live in. I took it. You can share it. Thank you so much. Bon fin de semana. There you go. That surfer dude who we've seen before when we first met you, James, of course. And you were telling us your story about how you chose that part of Portugal to live in, how it had a resonance with Santa Cruz in California. And there's that surfer guy, which I'm sure is part of that looking out to sea. He looks like he needs a good chicken dinner, I think, as Pete Bleach might say. So let's see who's in this morning. How's everyone doing? Did I say 10 p.m.? 10 a.m. is the after show party this morning. Bring a friend as well, actually, if you're a supporter GuMPer and you want to bring a friend, do that. We have a duck rating. Yeah, 10. Straight after the show this morning. The clue is an after show party, which I may have got that wrong. It's at 10 p.m. rather than 10 a.m. Let me make that really clear now. Let me be clear, like a British politician, British Prime Minister. Don't get settled in. 10 a.m. after show party this very morning. A duck rating then this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that fifth one this morning, but 4 out of 5. Not too bad. Good morning. Joao F. You join us. Oh, my hair's a bit frizzy. That's a little weather report in its own right. Those wispy hairs on the front there. I've got a bit of frizz after being out in the moisture this morning. It's a very humid, moist, and damp morning here on the Silver Coast. Some quite dramatic skylines at the moment with the clouds. Not the blue skies of summer, but interesting nonetheless. And a very high temperature I've got here. I don't know if it's going to give me any more. I daren't press on this button. Oh, 19 degrees with a rain warning, a yellow triangle, chuva aviso, and 19 degrees over this way. Feels a lot warmer, I have to say, than that. And now I can't get rid of that thing, and I can't find my mouse either. Thank you, Microsoft, for being so intrusive. What is it about that company and the guy who founded it that can't stop intruding into your life? Anyway, breathe. I said I would breathe, didn't I? Great to see you here, Joao F, this morning. Bon dia, Carl and GuMPers from a very wet, stormy, but mild Belfast. 40-mile-an-hour winds. Feijoada level. A feijoada rating of what? At least a 4 out of 5 there as well. Winds and 44 millimeters of rain in 16 hours. Blustery weekend ahead. My goodness. And just, oh yes, we were talking about Springsteen, weren't we, a week or two ago, and his new album of soul classics. Just watch Springsteen's latest song from his upcoming album. Don't Play That Song for Me. Album comes out on the 11th of November. All classic soul and Motown songs. Nice one. What's this? Deagle's counting the likes as well. 3 live chats, 1 like. Got a few more people in, and they drift in, and as I'm sure they will do on a Friday. It's as well as Feel Good Friday. It's Catch Up Friday. If you're a bit miffed and peeved with me because I haven't shared something that you've sent in, this is the day to remind me, and Frank and I will amble our way through that this morning. Okay, so please don't suffer in silence if you've sent something hoping for it to be shared. As I say, this is the community contributed, curated and created show. Do remind me. We get a lot of contributions, and for that I'm most grateful, I have to tell you. But sometimes it means my bulging sack of mail. Things get buried in there and never to be seen again sometimes. He. What? And bom dia, GuMPers. Feliz sexta todos. Putting the sex in sexta-feira. Tudo bem, says James. Yeah, muito bem, obrigado contigo, James. Cue this then so we don't forget. Every human thought, word, or deed is based on fear or love. Fear is the energy which contracts, closes down, draws in, hides, hoards, harms. Love is the energy which expands, opens up, sends out, reveals, shares, heals. You have a free choice about which of these to select. Neil Donald Walsh from his book, Conversations with God. Wow. Thank you, NDW. Thank you, James. And the Bayard said, let there be slug. I've been meaning to show you that I've got the doctor, been sucking on a doctor before the show. Just recently. It's that time of year, isn't it? The Rebusados are back in. Nice. Talking of bulging sacks, that is a goodly portion of lozenges. I've had a few out of there already. And the Emballaging Familiar here, the 200-gram pack, is in no way some sort of marketing scam. You get some good value there. And more to the point, listen to that rustling. Isn't that great? You know you've got Rebusados with those in your pocket. Get nice and warm, and then you can offer them to friends. Warm and sticky. Who doesn't like a warm and sticky lozenge in the morning? I'm getting a thumbs up from Mrs. M. She does. And these people, this is what you could start out like. Grabbing your throat, coughing into your hand, and over everybody else in the supermarket queue. And that little girl with a kind of cough there. Dr. Bayard sorts that out. Experimentos rebusados peitorais. But that sounds... Peitorais sounds like that. Peit is chicken breast, isn't it? So is that breasty lozenges? Let's find out from Mrs. M if she knows anything about this mystery. Talking of breasty lozenges.
Yeah, it's fair to say I don't always agree with Carl, but hey, this is a section about what he doesn't tell you. So let's have a look now, shall we?
It still makes me giggle. Fantastic. I love your opening.
Carl, I don't know what's going on. You're not moving. It looks like you're a cardboard cutout.
Is that been for the whole show?
I don't know. I've only just joined you.
Oh, I see. No, I'm just keeping really still.
Your video's gone off.
I'm just keeping really still. Oh, my video's just... me see if I don't know
There,
what
you're back.
happened.
You're back. You're
No,
back.
I'm not. It's frozen again. It's frozen again.
Oh,
As you were listening to the show again yesterday, weren't you? So it sounds really good as a radio show. You don't
yeah.
necessarily have to look at the pictures. So that maybe that's how it is this morning. We are radio, and I don't have a moving picture for some reason. I don't know why that is.
What's going on with our brand new computer? That's so bizarre.
I'm disgusted, quite frankly. But anyway, we can
Oh,
talk to
dear.
each other. That's the main thing, and I'm sure it will sort itself out at some point. If not today, then sometime during the week or weekend. That's how relaxed I
There you
am.
go. Oh no, you.
No, it's frozen again.
Oh
It's gonna
wow.
catch me. It's gonna catch me. I think
In
it's
one of those really
yeah.
awful poses.
Yeah. So
Yikes.
don't know what's happening there. Shall I refresh the whole thing and see what happens? You keep talking. I'm gonna refresh my browser. Bit like changing your it's the IT equivalent of changing your underpants. Let's see what happens here.
Okie dokes. All right. Well, let's just say hello to a few people then. I noticed that there's someone called Ilda Alrik. Hi, Ilda. You're in Chandler's Ford. That's where my sister lives with her family. How is it there in Chandler's Ford today? So I don't know who Carla's already welcomed. You look normal-ish.
Yes. Nice caveat. Nice caveat.
No, you've already frozen.
Really?
Did you actually restart the computer? I mean, I have to
No, I
say,
didn't
I was kind of bitching a little bit down here as I came on, because there wasn't, as I turned the computer on, like it was like a mass of you obviously hadn't like logged off. You just like turned it off, without like getting rid of everything. And like the
Yes.
screen was so packed.
Yes,
that's
how
not
I'd
a
roll.
way to run your technology, is it? So anyway, who
Oh.
else is here today that we haven't said hello to? Have you said hello to everyone yet?
No, I hadn't got that far. I've changed the definition. That seems to have done something, doesn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think there's something going on with graphics cards, but anyway. And
Okay.
I did definitely mean 10 a.m. The after show party this morning. You're going to be there, Mrs. M. The after show party is. Oh no, you're homeschooling at that time, aren't you?
Yeah, I might say hello.
Okay, maybe we can make it. We could co-opt it into a homeschool thing and let the kids run it. That would be interesting, wouldn't
I
it?
don't think we're at that stage yet, love.
Probably
But
no.
nice
The
thinking.
kids aren't, or we aren't. Some say we've never been at that stage. No, I haven't greeted everybody. So
Okay.
let's carry on doing that.
There's some new names here from my perspective. You'll know everyone's names, but I was just commenting that there was somebody from Chandler's Ford watching us today.
Ilda,
which
is that
was
right?
Yeah, Ilda.
Ilda Orik, which is a lovely name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wonderful name.
Ilda
And then
Orik.
I've never heard of the Global Nobles. I'm guessing you have, but bon dia todos.
We've yet to find out more about them. We do like the name, the Global Nobles.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
It does, doesn't it? And with nice.
Tell us a bit about yourself if you're still here. If we haven't scared you off already.
Yes.
Come on, tell us about you. Like, what makes you so global? Are you a family?
Yeah.
Or it looks like there's just 2 pairs of feet there. Nice trainers. I like your styling with the old laces. Very nice.
Yeah, nice.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yep, and people are sharing the names of their favourite politicians this morning as well, I think. Possibly, but perhaps not. Turdo from China there for T-Duck. But I think I think that's a Tudo, isn't it? Rather than a Trudeau.
Okay.
Okay. Look, you weren't here for this, so I don't want to read this again because this is very, very important. This morning we are asking the question. I'll be honest. When I got in touch with Frank, that's a silly phrase, isn't it? I'll be honest. I like to think I am honest most of the time. What I meant to say there is I want to share something with you that I might not ordinarily share. I had a communication with Frank yesterday about being on the show. How are you doing? Not the Mae West. It sounded like he was having a bad day. And we had even though he was having a bit of a bad day by the sound of it, we still had a bit of a to and fro, a bit of banter. And he said, "Yeah, I don't know." I said, "What do you want to do with the show?" And he said, "How about it's all going to hell as a theme?" I was okay. Let's do that. and so that's why this morning it's like sometimes it feels like that, doesn't it? Let's face it, especially in this time in human history, you could say there are reasons why you might think it's all going to hell. And but still we carry on, don't we? Carry on, and let's talk this morning about how it is all of us get back in the groove on Feel Good Friday, because we all have those moments, and I think there's quite a lot of triggers for that kind of feeling at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
We are. I don't know what you think about this, and let's maybe get the serious stuff and the dark stuff out of the way. But it would be disingenuous, wouldn't it, to not observe that there are certain things in the world that can be quite distressing and depressing. 'Twas ever thus, of course, but it seems that there's higher levels of that at the moment, and I'm very concerned, and it's a bit of an elephant in the room.
Concerned. That's an interesting word that you use, because that's one
Not
word that I
serious
just
about it,
wouldn't. Yeah, you're not. I'm just going to change my
not that
lighting a
sort
minute.
of person.
You're not the sort of person that normally gets concerned about anything. You tend to try and keep on an even keel.
There you go.
I normally do the concerning stuff for you.
Hence what he doesn't tell you. But what I'm
Mm,
going to tell you today is what's baffling me.
okay.
Do excuse me. Sorry about all of that. Is when we first went into the pandemic, we were showing pictures of people dropping dead in the streets, and we went into a major effort to keep everybody safe, etc., for 2
Mhm.
whole years. And people are dropping dead now. There's a different kind of pandemic going on at the moment of sudden adult death, which
Yeah.
it's exactly the same. I don't know. Sorry, that's unscientific. I'm likely to get myself thrown off YouTube for saying things like that. But what I'm trying to articulate is that there are people dying at the moment in the most mysterious of circumstances,
Yeah.
at alarming levels. So let me just call it that then. I can't compare figures, but there are alarming levels of people dropping dead. I heard
Yeah.
of a presenter on a BBC radio station just dying during his show, which is especially
Mm,
sobering for for doing what I'm doing. And you can't hide from that. This is going on, isn't it? This is going on around the world.
mm,
And if we base the whole pandemic on pictures of dropping dead in the streets of China, you might think there'll be an equal concern for what's going on with what's being called sudden adult death syndrome, right?
yes.
You
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
imagine that the same mobilization of concern and control even would be put into place. But no, it's just like a
But there's
great,
not.
it's just a great big mystery, isn't it? That not is not really being talked about
Mm,
post pandemic. And so, that's an elephant in the room thing for me. And when Frank and I were jokingly talking about it's all going to hell, that's a thing to me. That's a thing at the moment, and I think it should be spoken about openly. I never know quite how to speak about it openly though, because I
yeah.
don't know what to do about it. But just to put that out there as like the same level of what would it be called? It's, sudden death
Mm,
and mysterious death is occurring as happened at the beginning of the pandemic.
mm.
But we're not having the same global
Conversations.
no, the
There's
conversation
not the same conversations. There's not the same government
intervention.
interventions.
Yeah,
There's not the same. It's almost like one was exploded onto our screens, and we were all told to worry about it. And
yeah,
then when there are sudden adult deaths taking place all around the world at different times, and also in the media's just cutting away from it, like the footballers dying. I think I know that as of April or May, there was over 200 professional athletes that just dropped dead in the middle of what they're doing.
yes,
And I know there was 2 football pundits talking live on air on, is it Talk Sport? And they said, I wonder if, and all of a sudden they just went blank. They were just
yeah.
cut off. They weren't
Like
allowed
that
to talk
DJ.
about it as
Oh, I
a
see what you
fellow
mean.
sports person
Oh,
died
right, okay, yeah,
on the
yeah,
telly.
yeah,
A singer in Paris died last weekend mid performance, and
yes.
it's all brushed off. There's nothing in the news about it other
Me
than
too, and that's the
somebody
funny
just
thing, isn't
suddenly
it?
died. That's really bizarre.
How
Yeah.
however, disconnected you may feel from the mainstream media, we do
Mm.
tend to look for it as an affirmation of what's going on in the
Yeah.
world. However suspicious you might be of it, it is a bit
Yeah.
of a barometer, isn't it? Or a mirror of like,
Yeah.
okay, well, they're talking about that. So that kind of confirms my concerns or confirms my interest in such a
Yeah.
subject. But nothing at
Mm.
all. But I'm putting that there as one of these
I mean, I mean,
signs of the times or something like that.
that is one of the most mysterious things about it. Full
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, okay.
That nobody would talk about it. It's just bizarre.
Yes, and then
And that if you do talk about it openly, you're likely to be silenced. It's interesting that you're talking about this on the day that Elon takes over Twitter, and
you talk about him like
he's
it's your pal, Elon,
no,
my
no,
pal
but
Elon.
Elon Musk is, the sale of Twitter, which is
Yeah,
arguably a like town square.
yes,
You know, that sale is going through today, and he's threatening to take it open source, which means nothing will be censored.
Right.
And, you know, during the sale, you know, like, whereas Twitter was saying, oh, only 5% of the activity here is through bots, it was a lot more like 50%. I think it was like 44 or something like that. You know, so a lot of the activity on Twitter has been programmed bots.
Yes.
And there's so many memes, if you look for them, where you'll see like about 40 or 50 people, all with different names, all with different faces, all saying the same message. You know, so there are these pre-programmed things kind of creating the news for us. And of course, as of today, that could all be blown apart.
Let's see. I mean,
it'll either go one way or another. It'll either be completely like, this is the narrative, boom, or it will go open source, and then who knows? It could be like this Pandora's box opening, and we actually get to find out what is going on.
At Morning Portugal is us. if you want to be on Twitter and connect with us at Morning Portugal. So let's see what happens with your pal Elon.
He's not my pal. I'd love to know what people think about this. I mean, we've got a few comments. I mean, I had the absolutely I was quite literally floored earlier this year when I heard that one of my friends' completely healthy sons just passed away at home. You know, completely unexpected. You know, like, you hear about these stories of sudden adult death, but unless you actually know somebody that it's happened to, it all kind of stays out there. It doesn't really touch you here in the heart. But when you actually know somebody who's just gone for absolutely no reason,
it's terrifying and horrible. And you would imagine, and I'm just making the comparison that, you know, quite rightly at the beginning of the pandemic, with mysterious deaths and us not knowing what the hell was going on, there was a massive mobilization globally, with connected and concerted efforts across the world by governments to keep people safe. That was the whole idea, wasn't it? And now we're seeing mortality, you know, what are they called, excess deaths, that are, I would say they must be equally concerning. If you're a medical professional, there is not the same response to it. So either it's not true, that it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, or it is as bad and nothing is really being done about it. So let's see. Let's keep...
Another interesting thing is there are lots of doctors speaking out with what they think it is, who are getting censored. But the doctors that are actually being seen on the telly are the ones that are saying it's mysterious. We just don't know what it is. Now, when have you ever heard a doctor say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's just absolutely mysterious. We don't know what it is"? Doctors are some of the most opinionated people, and fair enough. And you know, no offense to any doctor out there. I know a few. I know a few who've left, you know, doctoring because they didn't like what they were supposed to be saying, and they actually disagreed with it. Anyway, you know, the doctors that are being featured are saying, well, there's just no medical reason for it. And yet there are undertakers reporting lots of disturbing news, not getting any airtime. There's just so many people behind the scenes trying to say, hang on a second, there's a much bigger picture. And then the patsy doctors that are, sorry, this is starting to raise a bit of fire in me, but these patsy doctors that are paid by who knows who's sponsoring them go on television and say, yeah, well, yes, it's unexplained. Like, normally when they go on telly, they're saying, okay, well, you know, we've got this going on. This could be a factor. This could be a factor. And they would investigate everything, because that is what you do when there's something scientific. Like, you use a scientific approach, right? You put everything in and you examine what has changed since all these deaths started to occur. Let's think, what has changed in the way we're living? And where's that happening? Absolutely nowhere. So,
all right, Mrs. M, you'd expect.
I'm going to calm down.
Yeah, calm. I would breathe.
I'm sorry. I feel really, really strongly about it, because you know, I actually personally know somebody who just did earlier this year, and
it's unnerving for us, isn't it, not to know? I mean, us as humans, not you and me. I mean, when we don't know, when this, I mean, that's why I think that's why people genuinely responded so fully and supportive. Is because it was a big unknown, wasn't it, at the beginning? And now this unknown seems to be hanging there and is quite undealt with. The doctors aren't even saying, well, you should drink less, smoke less, and get more exercise. They're not even saying that, which is they're standard go-to. Anyway, don't want to go completely dark. I was just putting.
Well, there's lots of comments coming in. Let's have a look at some of them, shall we?
All right. Well, can we do that? Can we come back to those in a minute? Because I've skipped all the greetings and good mornings.
You did say you were going to take this to hell. My goodness.
What do you mean? Take this to
well,
hell?
you and Frank, let's have a hellish theme.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Is that where this was leading?
No,
I was thinking, it's a kind of Halloween theme.
No. But that doesn't help either. Quite frankly, no.
We've heard from Ilda. She's saying she's originally from Pombal.
Yes,
I have very happy memories of Pombal. We used to visit there quite a bit when I was pregnant. There was a restaurant that just really hit the mark. And the night before, yeah, it's not there anymore.
I think it's changed to a different Pan-Asian experience now.
But it was just great, just a place where you could just really fill up and refuel. And almost 4 years ago now, we went to the Pombal Walk one night, and then afterwards, there's there was this lovely little what are they called? Those things that like circular,
isn't it?
Like a little rose garden or a rose arbor, like a very
arbor. That's the word.
An arbor. So like a white metal circular.
Not like an arbor
structure.
down on the River Medway. Not one of them arbors. without the H.
It was like a lot of round circular trellis and little seats in the middle, kind of in the center of Pombal. And it's this time 4 years ago. So there were these beautiful, great big leaves falling down, just loads of autumn leaves. We've got this lovely video of our eldest two just playing in the leaves after a good old sort of Pan-Asian treat. And then that night I went into labor. My waters broke. And I really think that night in Pombal just did the trick. So I love Pombal.
They do. That's a bit of an old wives' tale, isn't it? But spicy food can bring on labor. Deagle will be able to tell it. Full moons and curries. Full moons and curries, possibly. Okay, thank you very much for all your comments that are coming in. Yes, we did.
We got something from the Global Nobles here. Got a bit of a story,
okay,
backstory.
But hold on, you're moving me on faster than I normally move you on. I just want to say, we stirred up a bit of a conspiratorial whiff this morning.
Yeah, okay.
Let's continue to talk about it in a sane and curious way. I think it's important to do that. And remember that before you kind of accused me of bringing a hellish tone to the program this morning. What in conversation as Frank and I had yesterday, how are you doing? Oh, it feels like it's all going to hell, mate. We all have those moments. And the big question this morning then on Feel Good Friday is, what do you do when it feels like it's all going to hell? That is the premise. That's the context this morning.
How do you pull yourself back together?
That's realistic. That's realistic and helpful advice. And this has come in from James. And I was going to read this before we interrupted ourselves and each other, and I got frozen and all that sort of stuff. But every human thought, word, or deed is based on fear or love.
Yeah.
Fear is the energy which contracts, closes down, draws in, hides, hoards, and harms. So if you feel that, if you feel those contractions and closing down and heaviness, it's probably because there's some fear in the air, right? However, on the other hand, or it's not even on the other hand, is it? Because I think love is bigger than fear. It's not either or. It's like love is the whole background. Love is everything. And then occasionally fear pops up in that little context of, that massive context of love, that entire context of love. A little bit of fear can pop out like a fart, really, and be as unpleasant and unwelcome too. Love is the energy which expands, opens up, sends out, reveals, shares, and heals. And just saying those words makes me feel better already. You have free choice about which of these to select, and that's Neil Donald Walsh conversation.
Yes.
So, we can talk about bad feelings, not feeling great, how things might be in the world, as we started to do. But we can always remember that as well. So thank you for that, James. Sorry, back to you and the Global Nobles.
No, actually, just before we say, actually talk about the Global Nobles, and look at their message. You are right. I mean, we are living in, I think, nefarious times where things really aren't straight, and yet we're being told they are straight. We're being told this is absolutely straight. This is the straightest it's ever been. And it clearly isn't, like we're being told the sky is pink. And if you don't believe it, then you must be any number of insults. And so actually what we do, you're right. What we need to do is just decide how we can how we can kind of bypass all that BS
and go
and
back to the
just
love. Get back to the love.
get back to love.
What is the quickest way back to love, isn't it? You know, not what's the quickest way to silence your enemies, not what's the quickest way to shut everybody up who doesn't agree with you.
No,
But
it's to get
what's
back
the
into
common
love.
ground, and what's the quickest way back to love?
I
And
think
can we talk about things? You know, that's the experiment, I suppose, as well, isn't it? Is it safe to talk, even about things? Which I hope it is here.
I think there's so many different ways of getting back to love. Like the first one I would recommend for people who find it really
Skin on skin. No, go
on. I would actually say if getting back to love or connecting to love just feels too almost threatening or difficult, or maybe if you're very sort of in your head and very rational, I would just say like a rampage of appreciation and just go into infinite gratitude. So I remember on a day before I was delivering a workshop, feeling really quite nervous and anything but love. I was just really feeling totally rational and also sort of fight or flight, sorry. And I forced myself to do this rampage of appreciation, which felt very, very staid and very much like a technique at first, but it starts to build. And so as I was on my moped going through the paddy fields, in Bali, I was like looking at different things to each side and just saying, I'm really grateful for this. I love how this is. I love that palm tree. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at the shade of it. Oh, wow. I love how clean these roads are, how empty they are. I love that I've got this beautiful moped, and just appreciating everything, even though it felt like a task. And before I knew it, I was starting to get into this new track, and it was like my heart opened. I felt relaxed, my breathing slowed down, and you know, before I knew it, by the time I got there, I had the best day ever. It was phenomenal. So should we actually look at the Global Nobles message now?
Let's do that. And I'm wondering where Frank is. It's not unusual that he might be a little bit late. He might be just brushing sand from his hair before he joins us live on the screen.
Okay. So let's have a look at the Global Nobles. Thank you so much. You know, we put you on the spot there. So the Global Nobles are Greg and Amy, Noble is our last name, from San Francisco, getting ready to land in Lisbon with our D7 the moment we have both visas in hand, still waiting for the second one. Wow.
Yeah, that does happen. You can have one in the household and be waiting for the other one, which it must seem like an interminable wait, Global Nobles. But well done on the first one, and good luck with the second one coming through soon, presently. And
what are your plans? Are you planning on touring? Have you got an idea? Like, what is it about Portugal that has enticed you over? I don't know. It's kind of exciting. You know, I like to get to know people. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know, and we love your trainers. Bon dia,
yes,
GuMPers.
Nice trainers.
What were those fantastic trainers that I must put in the GuMPer store? That were made in the souvenir. Those Portuguese city themed trainers were fantastic, and you could eat them as well because I think they were vegan. Bon dia, GuMPers. Lovely day yesterday. That's not how it works, is it? Lovely day yesterday. Partly sunny, but not too hot. Enjoyed a long walk along the beach. Somehow very therapeutic. Yeah, I think you have to work different muscles when you're walking in the sand, don't you? It kind of it helps develop a little bit more core strength and exercise muscles in your feet that you don't normally use in your calves. I'm so glad you're having a great time here, Coach Turner. And he has a tip of the day for us. I think Joao is struggling with his autocorrector this morning. What rectophobia that might be called? I can't be, can it? That's got to be something else. God Squad tip of the day for me: watching top athletes train is a joy. I'm always learning either from the exercises they do or from their movement patterns. That means a different thing in Germany, a movement pattern, I think. Continuing to learn is part of growing old, though maybe not the disgracefully bit. What inspires you to learn? Great question, Coach Turner. Maybe that can also help to motivate you to do something active as well. Great.
That is an amazing question. Ever since I've known Carl, this is what he doesn't tell you. Ever since I've known Carl, he listens to talk radio type things. He used to listen to Terry Wogan a lot, or old Terry Wogan replays.
Good man yourself.
Like Carl will listen to anyone that does anything radio inspired. It's like in the way that you're looking at the movement patterns, Carl is looking at the verbal patterns. He's a really, really good mimic. So there's not many accents he can't do because he's always observing and really listening, and it just captures his imagination. But also, like, and this is slightly more annoying, and it's part of our family culture, but we'll be driving somewhere and and we'll all be sat in the car, me and the kids, Carl will be driving. A song will come on and he will start introducing it as if he's on the radio, and then what's around him, like if there's a woman walking up the road, he will pull that into his intro as if he's live on radio, and he does it all the time. And it's really kind of cute, and it gets a bit old sometimes. Sometimes I have to just say stop. That's enough.
Enough. 11 years.
But that's what he loves doing, and it's the same with me as an astrologer. When I hear that somebody has had this really kind of phenomenal life, or something unusual has happened to them all of a sudden, I absolutely want to know their time, date, and place of birth, so I can look at the mechanics of their birth chart and kind of fit it into my database of this is what happens when this happens.
Very good.
So like we're always looking at these patterns. I love it, and I'm sure you guys are as well in all of your lives. Let us know how you observe your own patterns.
What is your
here comes Frank.
What is your lifelong learning? Look at him. Let's just let him get used to being in the back room for a minute. There's a wry smile on his face. We can see already.
Yeah. Looks like he's getting used to the light, like he's walked out of a dark room.
That smile. That's warmed.
He's got such a lovely smile.
He has got a lovely smile.
You two have got such a bromance, haven't you?
I'm blushing now. We blushed together on the screen, Frank. But that's the wrong jingle. What applause is that? Okay. And I'm not going to talk about rectophobia or correctophobia until Frank is on the screen, when it's unsafe to.
Are you going to try and just make him laugh?
No, not at all. You don't have to try.
What a clown. How you doing?
Very well, thanks. And how about yourself?
Hey, Mrs. M, it's so nice to see you, right? It makes the scenery so much better to see you on one end, and this guy. Yeah, keep him out of the screen. Let's just you and I talk. How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How's everything over there?
Yeah, it's good.
We've hit the ground running. You thought I was joking, didn't you? when we had that little to and fro, it's all going to hell. Okay, well, let's do a show about that. And that's what we're doing, Frank, this morning. We all feel like that sometimes, I think. And especially with some of the things the way they are in the world at the moment. And it's always been like that, of course, throughout history. But you could argue it's perhaps a little bit more intense at the moment. There's quite a few things flying around and begging for our attention, and they're not the most ennobling things for humanity. So sometimes it can feel like it's going to hell. Question is, what do we do about that? And we're getting some good advice on that this morning. How are you feeling today, my friend?
I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling as good as I can be. It's just that the past few days since you guys have elected this new prime minister. Well, he's not elected, is he?
Let's face it. Here's the
thing. Since the time you guys have gotten this guy in, I'm like hearing a lot of closet racists come out, and
really.
And saying, like snide remarks, and that's why I was saying the world has gone to hell, because what I feel is butter chicken and beef biryani is really at the doorstep now, and now that people have realized that, they've kind of gone a bit AWOL, and it's what people say stuff like, "Oh, you seem really British." And I'm like, okay, you can have a lot of issues with, okay, the guy's got a lot of money and stuff like that. But when you start hearing very, remarks that are enveloped in, I don't know, I don't think so, and whatever. And you can see it coming when you hear these kinds of things from a lot of human beings that you kind of think that you know. And when you start hearing these kinds of things, it's a bit disappointing.
So basically, you're getting the discomfort, and let's go there. I mean, the racist references to the new Indian Prime Minister of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And
is he actually there now? Is this official?
Because I definitely
it has been official for the past few days, and this has been irking everyone because everyone was actually wanted. Mr. Boris, I won't comb my hair Johnson back into power. And that was not going to happen because they tried it once. And then they put that lady in charge who just completely wow, she did a doozy in the diapers, that one, and that didn't work out very well. So I was like,
that could be any world leader at the moment, though. To be fair,
that could be any world leader, and most of
Yeah.
them are doing it. And it's not just related to her. You could have put someone like her in place. It could have been a guy, and it's worse. As a matter of fact, what I actually believe is that in this day and age, women should be in charge anyways of running countries. I don't know why this hasn't been happening for the longest time. Is because guys have truly shat the bag on this one. So let's give it to the ladies, and let's put them in charge of the house like they really are, and let's just sit back and go and watch football like we're meant to.
there we go. Never mind about.
Wow, that's an interesting view. I imagine that's going to stir up a hornet's nest.
That's not like Frank.
Do you know, as somebody with boobs and a vagina, I'm going to sound really. I don't know. I'm not going to sound very loyal to the ladies, because I'm going to say, "Oh my God, I would hate that."
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. Funnily enough, it goes back to identity politics. I don't think all women should be in charge. Although I can see why you might say that, because women appear to manage homes and families, and they appear to be quite strong, when sometimes men who look strong like crumble, but the women are just like behind, being quite stable. I just think people should be in place because of their character and what they add. And I don't think every woman necessarily has the right character. I don't think every man necessarily has the right character. I don't know.
We've tried the men out of character, right? We've tried that show before, and that hasn't gone well. Might as well give it okay, Truss came in and she left. Okay, she wasn't very good. Put somebody else in. Put like a Chinese lady in, or put like somebody else in.
Yeah, my mum.
Carl's mum would love that.
My mum. That could be lease life, wouldn't it?
And you know what? They will run the show amazingly well. I think the problem that has happened through the years is the entire these schools that these guys come from, be it Eton, be it these Carl, don't be offended, private schools. These private schools that these guys come from, what ends up happening is there is an element of entitlement where they come from, right? This is where the parents actually pay the extra cash. I know in the United States and Canada, this is what happens. Parents pay the extra cash for these kids to not just get an education, but walk around with people of influence. And by the time they come out, they'll have a job in hand. My thing is, the same schools, I'm quite sure ladies go to the same schools too. Why can't we find women who go to the same schools, and let's see how they behave when they go to 10 Downing Street, or when they go to the White House, or when they go to wherever Justin Timberlake lives. It's one of these kinds of things where I kind of feel that we haven't tried, and I think we should. That's just
it's an interesting perspective. I think we might just be saying, look, let's get this person in, let's get that person in, because this hasn't worked so far, and this hasn't worked so far, and this hasn't worked so far. Maybe the structure of having one elected leader at the top is the problem. Maybe that's why it's not working, because
because you are giving this advice. You are suitable for this role.
Yeah.
I would be terrible.
Back to the UK, flies into the UK and takes control, Mrs. M. And I would
hate that.
You could start a new series on TV called "What They Don't Tell You," about the hidden machinery of power, and spill the beans and all of that.
And the one thing, going back to the closet racist, the one thing going back is that you say to the person whatever, and then the person sends you a picture of a brown or Indian MP, and says, "But I like this person. I like this brown person."
I've got lots of
some of my best friends are ex.
Yeah. I've got lots of transgender friends, where we start sort of identifying with what we're pretending not to have an issue with, or we're trying to seem really cool, and because we make such an effort to do it, we identify ourselves that, you know, we don't know how to deal with it.
And
Yeah, I think the world will have to get used to some color on their screens, hopefully, because unfortunately, we thought, like in 2008 when Barack Obama was elected, you thought, all right, here is a tanned mulatto guy who's in power, and from here things will change. But unfortunately, things may not change as easily as we think they will. It's a very interesting world we live in these days, and it's the other thing is that people immediately come back to the thing that, oh, he's like the richest prime minister ever, and I'm just like, I don't remember of any prime minister or anyone who was in power who did not have enough cash. I'm quite sure Bojo has enough cash. I'm quite sure a lot of these guys, the schools that they went to, they come from cash. So what is the problem with this guy having cash? Maybe if he has the cash, maybe there's a good reason why he has the cash. Maybe he can keep it. Maybe he'll do the same job for your country, right?
Yes, I've got some questions for you, Frank, on this, definitely, because, you know, we are solution focused, aren't we? Part of Feel Good Friday is to be practical as well as just be a load of airheaded hippies talking about love. We could quite easily do, honestly. But Antonio is here, our friend Antonio. That would be a three-way bromance if he was on the screen with us, wouldn't it? Morning to you, Antonio. Oh, yes. Fantastic to see you there. Let's put into the mix before I ask you my questions. I'm sure other people have got questions for you as well, Frank. They could be as practical and street level, or should I say sand level, as questions about the Algarve. Of course, Frank runs a very successful Airbnb in the Algarve. So any questions about starting an Airbnb, wanting to book his Airbnb, and if he's got to rush off to do a changeover any minute, you can ask those questions in the chat this morning. And of course, the big issues we're talking about as well, and what to do about them. We want some solutions as well as the troubles that we're putting our finger on this morning. Deep thought.
And don't forget food.
Don't forget food and wine. I've got a wine article to talk you through as well. Apparently, Portuguese wine. Thank you, Carlos Lima, for this. Portuguese wine. Why you should be drinking more Portuguese wine and how to get started. You could have written that, Frank, and so
Absolutely.
could I. Anyway, Zig Ziglar, great name. Original name Hillary, changed his name to Zig Ziglar, or is now known as Zig Ziglar. Don't be distracted by criticism. Remember, the only taste of success some people get is to take a bite out of you. Those are the people you're talking about, aren't they?
Yes.
Duck.
That's the way to do it, isn't it? Zig Ziglar, American author, salesman, and motivational speaker. Hillary Hinton, which makes you think of Hillary Clinton, doesn't it? Unfortunately for some people, but that's interesting, isn't it? The knockers of the world, I suppose, the ones, the only closest they get to success is taking a bite out of other successful people.
Yeah,
is this part of the picture you're talking about? This jealousy, this bitterness, this disclosed racism, Frank. How are you dealing with
it's partially that. It's partially the fruit you can't have. So it's like, well, I can't get to that orange. It's sour anyways. And then you're like, okay, that's great. That's a great way of looking at things.
And what you know, this is, I get it now. I'm really understanding. And I should have possibly been a little bit more thoughtful and sensitive when we were having our to and fro on WhatsApp yesterday. But this is what's been troubling you, is the response to having Rishi Sunak as, or what's he called? Radish Sudoku, as Joe Biden called him. People, you know, I suppose what happens with this sort of thing, and it happened with Trump as well, isn't it? It kind of ennobles or has some people coming out of the closet where they felt they would keep their views to themselves before because it wasn't safe to express them, and then they would quite rightly in some ways be attacked for having off views. They feel it's not ennobled. What's the word? Empowered to speak up in a way. And is that what you've been dealing with? Is this sense?
Well, it's just like in cooking terms, when you're like, let's say, toasting cumin. By the time you've thrown it in the pan and you've like, once the smell starts coming up, you know exactly what the spice is all about. And funny enough, what's happening these days is you've got people who there has to be something has to hit the pan for them to come out and say, all right, I'm revealing myself finally.
Yes.
And then you're like, ah, very nice. I never knew you were that kind of twat, but you know you are. So that's great.
But aren't we all doing that at the moment? I mean, that's another hallmark of these times. We're all in the pan together, aren't we? Without wanting to, I mean, you know, watch out for that being a WEF slogan soon. But we are in this pan. We are feeling the heat, and our aromas are emanating from all of us, aren't they, at the moment?
I see it as if we're in a tube of toothpaste. So, like, if you think of a tube of toothpaste, the toothpaste, like, of maybe what's going on in the world hits poorer people first. Okay, they're the first squeezed out of the tube. But in the system we've currently got, everybody's in that tube, even the super rich. And so as you're rolling that tube or just squeezing it sort of from the middle, which really winds Carl up. But as you squeeze the toothpaste out, he's a bit of a toothpaste fascist, aren't you?
Oh,
he hates the way the kids do it.
No.
Anyway,
Kids can be forgiven, all right? Where's the toothpaste? It's in the toothpaste tube. Squeeze it anywhere. When you get to be a grown-up and you still do that, that's where my beef is.
Okay. So anyway, we're all in this tube of toothpaste, and nothing will change because the people at the top never really get to feel what has been created, possibly by them and some of their friends, maybe. But like in a system like capitalism, where it's a race to the top and a race to, or almost like we're like climbing over the dead bodies to like get up to air, like we're all having to step on each other to be able to make it in the world, to keep our heads above the water. And it's really hard if you don't want to be in that system to exist. Like you have to kind of live outside of the system and work in a different way. I see a lot of remote workers are able to do that, but it's thanks to things like crypto or being able to work and take payments from things like PayPal and Stripe and all sorts of different things. So, you know, it's really, really hard to like step outside the normal story, but we're all in this toothpaste, and eventually, if it carries on, they will all get squeezed too. But the first out the toothpaste have a chance to. Once you're out of the toothpaste, once you've been squeezed out of the system altogether, I think that's when the true creativity starts, and we can all start coming up with something.
I get what you're saying. I think that the bigger problem, I feel at least, the bigger problem we've got is now we kind of, because we've got this microphone, we've got these cameras. Now people kind of feel that they have easier access. People kind of feel that they can say and do whatever they want because, first of all, I'm sitting in a room over here. Who's going to come and attack me personally or have a conversation with me, or at least try to intellectualize what's going on, right? You will say whatever you want. You will leave it in a 10-second snippet, or you'll send a text to someone. And that's the end of it. And there are no consequences. I think that the world of consequences has gone, and that's why we are where we are. Where these nitwits, it kind of feels that way.
I can see that from your perspective, definitely, Frank.
It's very, very unfortunate, because the thing is, these people always existed. It's not like, you know, like sometimes you go online and you see all these deaths. So like, I'm sorry to bring something morbid up. So like, let's say, for example, you say, oh my God, that person died. Wow, this happened. And then you're like, I wouldn't know about this if we weren't in this day and age where this is being put out. Like, you wouldn't know that Lauren Bacall or a famous celebrity died, and this is meant to be a sad day. You'd find out in the newspapers maybe the next day and whatever, but if you find out within the first 30 seconds, that basically means that we have access. And because of that, we kind of, I don't think, based on the technology that we have been taught how to behave. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah. How would you like if you were in charge, or if you could do something to do with social media, what recommendations would you give to people to be able to
First thing I would
help
do is I
them
would
be
shut
responsible?
the internet for a week. I would shut the internet for a week, get all these nitwits in a class. And I would give all of them behavior lessons on how you should be behaving. Just like, you know, in school, when you're a kid, you're taught how to behave in public, how you need to sit in a restaurant, how you need to eat. When parents do these kinds of things, this is something that was supposed to have been done when the internet came about, and this has never happened, unfortunately. And I believe some of these people, after that, you give a test, and if they fail that test, you never get the internet, you twit.
It sounds very authoritarian, I
Wow.
have to say, Frank.
That does sound very authoritarian.
But in a good way.
Whose standards? Whose standards should be the ones that we?
We bring experts like Carl Munson, and they moderate the room, and they say, hey, you. I know you misbehaving, because there have been a few times. Actually, I've seen Carl cut people off, and it's brilliant when he does it. It's not just tactful. It's just so beautiful. It's like watching poetry. It's like the man just suddenly the person is there, and within 2 seconds the person is not there, and everybody's looking at each other going, "What just happened?" Carl's happening.
Yes, I called you a benevolent dictator. That makes me sound like an absolute malevolent dictator there. Baddy, well, Alegria, feeling good this Friday morning and looking forward to the show. I wonder if you still feel the same way, Baddy.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was when you guys were chatting before, I was looking through the comments. There's so many great comments.
Well, let's go through them.
And the global nobles are being absolutely welcomed. You know, there's people saying, "Oh, you're going to Lisbon. How about this? How about that? What are your plans?" It's really, really lovely.
That's right. It's like
Will Thompson's got some interesting comments.
He always does.
And yeah, I'm very grateful to them.
Owen
talking about the web.
This is the toothpaste thing we're talking about, right? I see the comment and the chat as a tube of toothpaste, and I slowly work my way from the back of the toothpaste tube and gently squeeze the comments out so that I get to all of them. Mrs. M is like, "Oh, there's a nice bit of toothpaste. Oh, there's a nice bit of toothpaste. I'll just read that out." Please, I'm trying to work progressively through my toothpaste.
Okay.
All right.
I've starred some of them, so I think he might want to.
He's hurt by what you said about his toothpaste habits, Mrs. M.
I'll put
Do you know, Carl, you know, for all his fun and spontaneity on screen, he's actually quite ordered in so many ways. Like if I this is something that he doesn't tell you. If I move something from one side of the room to the other, he'll look at me and say, he'll kind of question why I'm doing it and whether I'm doing it in such a way that I only have to do it once. Because for him, it's a crime to have to redo things again and again and again. His idea on efficiency, I don't know if it's like what kind from your mum.
Frank will relate to this in the kitchen.
Well, I suppose in the kitchen, makes sense. But like in your family home.
Look, we're going to get to the comments eventually, everybody. But we've got to do this dirty linen.
What do you call it? What do you call it? I can't remember what you say. Double handling, yes.
What is the point of? I mean, I don't know if other people will relate to this, but there is what Mrs. M does. Okay, Frank, you might need to mediate and facilitate it during this process. Okay, this could get ugly, right?
I'll do my best.
Let's rearrange the living room. Okay, so that means pulling everything out of every cupboard onto the floor in the middle of the room. Trying to move the sofa over all of that whilst it's on the floor, whilst you're treading on Legos, as you North Americans would say, because all the Lego has to be poured out because that needs to be sorted out as part of this process as well. Open all the doors and the windows, bring a mop bucket in and the Hoover as well, stick that in the middle of the room, and then have lunch possibly and think about it for a while. And then, oh no, it's 10 o'clock at night. We need to get this sorted out now. To me, that is no way to reorganize a room. Am I
right? You missed out a stage, and that would be where I talk to the whole family and say, "Okay, what would you like this lounge to be like?"
Yeah. So what you're telling me, in the middle of organizing, there is a little bit of chaos, and the chaos. Do you have a problem with the time span of the chaos?
I can see.
Or do you feel that the chaos should go away very quickly? Like everything should be like. Do you give it a time limit? You say, okay, this should be done. This is a half-hour job. We should just do this in half an hour. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, the great irony here is I get accused by Mrs. M of not planning things, and and I think something like that should be planned and organised first, conceptualized in the mind, and then executed with.
Yes, but you know what? You often miss out that conceptualized in the mind. You say, "Okay, I'm going to do this." Boom, done. And then I'm like, "What? how does that work? Because in this new iteration, now we have to do this instead. And then 2 weeks later, Frank, he'll go,
Frank.
boom, and done. He's like made another massive change.
Oh, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not.
But you know what? This actually ties in really well to people who are moving abroad and migrating, because we'll have our different processes. I like to years of training, years of facilitation, but I like to take the whole picture apart like a great big mind map. And Carl is right; it is quite disruptive. But then, like, look at it from the big picture lens and think, okay, what do we need to consider so that I don't have to make this change for another year? Whereas Carl does, okay, I'm going to make a change right now. I'm probably going to change it in 2 weeks. So if I don't get it quite right, it doesn't matter. And so we've got these two very different approaches. His is very short term. Mine is very big picture, long term. And the same thing happens when people migrate. If you've got very similar technique, then that's really quite helpful. I actually think seeing both of the styles and appreciating the benefits of each is actually useful. There you go.
So you go for the long-term pain. He goes for short pain. Just do the surgery quickly. Get the cancer out, and we're out of here.
No, he deals with the symptom. I deal with the cause.
So
if we're going to use a medical model, I go to the cause.
No, absolute nonsense.
Okay.
And one more thing before we move on. And I resent that massively. What's just
do you? Why? Come on, speak up.
All right, Carl, you get to say you have to have your side. Come on, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna do a what about here, just to change the subject and add emotional emphasis to my argument. Okay, what about in the kitchen, Frank, when you're trying to cook and people come in and stand between you and the things you're trying to do? How's that for you?
That's a no-no. One thing I'll tell you almost immediately is when you're in the kitchen, when you're in the space cooking food or doing whatever, you need the space. So if you want to be the audience, you need to be a little bit far away, at a distance, to just watch. I don't need you coming about and I need to get this or you know what, maybe I'll what. No, get away from me right now. Go on that.
What you do not stir my filet. Do not touch anything that's going on in the pan.
Stirring is a complete no. Why are you stirring? Did I ask you to stir? No.
He actually gets very upset. I mean, I've known about that, and when like my parents come and stay, they're always quite surprised when Carl's like, get out of the kitchen. We got some lovely
thank God there are other people watching who can distract us from what we're talking about.
Silver Magazine, that's MJ from yesterday. Chaos before order. That's how the universe works without warning or planning. Darren is saying Carl wants a pre-project planning meeting.
No, I don't, Darren Live.
Maybe Mrs. M has the concept in mind already. And Victoria, I love this. Woman after my own heart. Painted the living room Monday to Tuesday. 3 days later, still mulling over the furniture arrangement. But I bet you, when you get it right, you'll get it right, won't you? And send us a picture.
And still cleaning paint off the furniture as well, no doubt.
Francis is saying, similar to Carl, I have a light that turns on when the power goes off, as is our norm. Every night I know I have to plug it in because for some reason it's the only plug that can charge a phone.
Yes, thank you, Francis. I think that's some support there. And I think you've been cherry picking the comments again, haven't you? And really,
I have. I've just gone straight to the end. So I tell you what, I think I should probably leave you guys to have, your little chat, because I feel,
how patronizing is that?
No, okay, I'm sorry, but you've got this rich romance.
Now you say this.
Yeah, we want you to run the world, and you're just going to leave us to have our little chat. That's the problem. That is a political metaphor.
Isn't that
a political metaphor? That is the thing. That is the problem, isn't it, of world politics? The men are just willing to have a little chat.
Do you know what? That's what I think a wise mum or dad would do. Is they'll leave the kids to sort out their own mess, and they'll watch from a distance, and then they'll say, "Okay, well done. I love what you did there. May I just suggest that we also do this?"
Yes.
So they get the full learning of the situation that they've been in, and it all ends well. So anyway, I'm not applying myself to this like that, because you guys can have loads of fun. I think you'll have lots more fun without me.
You like that tight smack there, Carl Munson? You like that?
Yeah. I tell you what, you can see I'm doing my Tucker Carlson face now. Like, why is that? What just happened there? This is Tucker on Fox News. I don't know just what happened to me there. Why is that? My wife was on the show. She started talking. I became very confused. Why is that? And that is exactly what I don't know what happened then, except
Okay.
she's going to go now, and I'm going to be thinking, what did I just sign up for or promise to do?
No, you're all good. You're not sleeping on the couch, man. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good, babe. We're all good.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I
That's very
think I've actually been quite a disruptive influence.
You
is what I'm saying.
haven't
Oh,
you?
you've been a wonderful
That's
influence.
what's
This is
happened. That's
good.
what's happened this morning. Yeah, stirred it right up, and then I'll just leave you to your little chat. And now I know what happened.
No, to your beautiful, rich bromance. I think
Thank you very much.
there's a magic that happens between you two, and I
Yes.
can't replicate that.
Agreed. It's already 20 to 10. That's what's
Exactly.
happening.
That's why I got to go.
Yeah, we just need a couple of beers now. That was like, God, bloody, what just happened there, Frank? I don't know. Let's just drink beer and talk nonsense for the next.
Absolutely.
Okay. There you go. Little
All right.
vignette.
Lots of love, everyone. Bon fin de
Lots of
semana.
love to you,
There she
Mr.
goes. All right. Let me just
Ciao,
play it.
ciao.
Okay, you're gonna have your music whether you like it or not this
Oh,
time.
really? Oh, no.
Your
I hope you
outro.
enjoyed me dishing the dirt there. Stay tuned for more things he doesn't tell you in my next episode coming up tomorrow. Bye for now.
Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. That was good, wasn't it? I still don't know what quite happened there this morning. Anyway, we have let's work through a few of these, Frank, as we sip on virtual beers and just hang out, kick back here in our little mini man cave this morning. We've got it back to ourselves. It's like the grown-ups have gone out, isn't it? And we've got it back to ourselves this morning.
No holds barred now, man. It's all going to hell literally now.
It really is. Your prophecy yesterday turns out to be true. Look at this. Let's take this who knew fact now. Portugal is the world leader in the production of renewable energy. It manages to meet almost 70% of its energy needs through hydro, wind, and solar power, lessening the requirement on a great big gas pipeline, you might say as well. But let's not open that can of worms right now. Joao, I'm about to go for a walk with my dog. Love the smell of the wet grass in the morning as we walk together. Oh, that's a nice scene there, isn't it? Cat or dog person, Frank? Did you? What's dog person? Okay. Yeah, Deagle complaining about a failed political system there. We had Baddy's comment, which is lovely to hear, Baddy. Your great news yesterday. So delighted for you with that. For Carl and James, how to pronounce Nunu's name like a Portuguese? It is Nunu. I
never wanted to say this, but I love it when you and a few other guys pronounce new, and I'm like, it's not. This is he's not a Star Trek character, man. Don't call him new. It's Nuno.
But it does not according to Nom de Plume. It isn't. She's got Nuno.
No, it's Nuno. So the thing is, it's not new. It's
Nuno. Nuno. Have I got that right now? Nuno.
Nuno.
I'm sure that's what I've been saying all this time. Okay, we'll move on to Joao and just to check that we've been saying Joao correctly for the last 5 years.
João.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Who would have thought that like 2 4-letter words could have so much difference and richness of texture and pronunciation in them? It is incredible. There it is right there, the complexity of the Portuguese language, just in some popular names in the culture. That's all you need to know, isn't it? You see Nunu and you go new, when in fact it's Nuno and João. And we just don't say that, do we? That's incredible. That's a really good insight.
Well, here's the funny thing. If it was back in the UK or in Canada and you mispronounce these names, you can kind of get it. You'd be like, "Hey, listen, we are here." But in their own country, you're mispronouncing these names.
All right.
Why are people doing this? It's a little bit. Come on, man. At least if you're not going to speak the language, at least get the names right.
Yeah, fair point. And I'm thinking we need to have a weekend hanging out where we do nail it in the company of beer drinking men, possibly. And women are invited, of course, to behave like beer drinking men.
Don't you? You're going to get us in trouble. I'm
going to get us in trouble. And we nail it once and for all. And we have our friends Nuno and João there with us to make sure this never happens again. Very good idea. Another great plan. Write it down. Adorei quando ontem escreveste que irias ensinar esta gente a pronunciar português como deve ser. Foi hilariante. So it's hilarious, is it, to hear us foreigners pronounce it?
It is absolutely for João. It's absolutely hilarious to hear how people write and how people speak.
And mess with his language. It's been very educational.
Do you think? Well, your Portuguese has improved quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I would like
mine
to
to a great extent. Do you kind of feel that now that you've got a better hold of the language, when you're like around the Portuguese folks, is the reception a bit better when you at least are trying and you're falling, but you know they'll pick you up and they'll be like, oh no, oh look at this cute gringo, look at how he's trying to pronounce this name, or look at how he's trying to do, but at least they'll be helpful. I kind of find that the other day I was at Lidl and there was this lady who was arguing with the guy in English, and he actually had a very smart thing to say. He was like, at least argue with me in my language so I understand what you're on about, lady. And the lady was German, and she was very insistent on certain things, and things need to be a bit more organized and whatever. He just laughed it off because he didn't understand anything. I'm just like, if you really want to complain that badly, at least learn the guy's language.
Yes, well said, well said. Definitely 10 a.m. I've changed that now for the after party. I don't know if you can stick around for that, Frank. That could be fun. And your picture, let me just show that again. You might not have seen it earlier on, but just down the road from you last night, I think. Look at that, Villarreal to Sant Antonio. That's a beautiful scene, isn't it? And these were two pictures of gratitude for being in Portugal this morning. James's was the other. Look at that in Ericeira this morning. Oh, yeah, definitely. What are they complaining about anyway? Probably something quite unimportant. But I suppose, you know, we shouldn't take away people's or mock people complaining. It was obviously important to them. Did you step in?
No, I watched, of course.
You watched.
It's more fun to watch these kinds of things, because at some point, if you get in, obviously she's going to throw something at you and be like, who are you to, who called you mediator? Even though I think I'd be an amazing mediator, don't you?
I agree. I
thought for a second, maybe on, don't worry about it. It's better viewing this one, pay-per-view. Yes. I like it.
Okay, please video it next time. Algarve means the West, hence the Algarve or the West. Okay, and I wasn't asking if it's a capital A. Definitely get that it's a capital A, but when I write it as the Algarve, do I put a capital T? I'm getting the sense that it should always be a capital T now. Yay, I love a bit of slowing down and breathing. I don't think I've managed to do that this morning, quite frankly, James. In Portuguese, Algarve is known as Algarve, not all Algarve, as in the Algarve. So I would say the Algarve. Oh no, so not a capital T. My 2 pennies worth. So I think that's why we're confused, because you could justify both cases then. Hello, goof morning. There
you go.
Yeah. 10 p.m. is too late for me. 10 a.m. Definitely 10 a.m. Ubi's here again. Great show last night with John Heimbach. Thank you for everyone who tuned in last night. You were good value last night, Ubi. And everyone loves to be told that, don't they? You were good value last night.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't like to slow down a bit first thing in the morning? We all do, even if we don't manage to in the end. And more pronunciation. Is this, a cup of coffee? My day has suddenly taken a turn for the much better. Thank you, Mrs. Oh, and a shot of ginger. How about that?
There you go.
That's ready for the after show party. Fantastic.
Yeah, you're doing well this morning.
I am. I don't want a ginger. Can you imagine sticky ginger in your keyboard?
Oh, do it, man. Do it right now. I'm going to go get something too. Don't worry about
it. Uest has hiatus in it, 2 vowels each occurring in a separate syllable. Ueste. East is leshta or eshta, I guess, loses the L when a compound with north-south. The Dr. Bayards aren't working, and nordest, sudest. I think I understand that, but I made a mistake on that last night with uest and esht. They're very subtle difference, isn't it, between uest and esht? Were you about to tell me something? It seems you didn't finish your sentence. That happens all the time. You have to get used to that, don't we? Do you think they are too sweet, Dr. Bayards? I like a strong eucalyptus type lozenge.
Where
yes.
Are you coming from? What's going on?
Do you not like to suck on a doctor first thing in the morning?
I'm sorry, I got stuck at suck. What would you say?
Reposados. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Doctor who? Doctor who?
No, not Doctor Who. Dr. Bayard.
Dr. Bayard. And this
Look,
is meant to be, as soon as you put a doctor's thing in there, this is meant to be official then.
Exactly. It really helps. And for the rest of the show, let's see if we can change things by me calling you Dr. Frank. Let's see. Let's just see if you could grab a stethoscope and a white coat as well to
Stop
completely
it, you. Stop it, you
troublemaker.
troublemaker.
I know you have that under your bed, Frank. Are we supposed to be watching? Yes, it is audio and video. Bon dia todos, bom fim de semana. Yay! Off on a village coach trip to Spain for the weekend.
Very
He knows how
nice.
to live.
Yeah.
I bet they're drinking already on that coach, don't you think?
Yeah, this one, yeah, by handy. Yeah, that's very nice.
We
And
were-
by the way, the R is ha.
Bajada.
Bajada. So
Bajada.
the R is an A, and then every time anyone tries to what do people from our backgrounds usually do? Bayrada, are you going to Bayrada? Your people, by the way. Are we going to have one of those fizzy things at the Bayrada? Bayrada.
The Espumant. We've got to do, I think we do have to do English people speaking Portuguese, don't we?
We
some
should.
little sketches. Let's do some sketches. That is going to be fun, isn't it?
Let's do that. I think it's going to be a
Yes.
lot of fun.
I'm not very fond of bacalhau. I those sort of things, right?
Does
Feijoada.
bacalhau have
I did have some
any bones in
feijoada.
it?
I had some feijoada the other day.
Feijoada.
It's not exactly baked beans, but I did speak to my Portuguese friend Nuno and João,
No.
and he used to picnic at Chandler's Ford. Happy memories there. Always happy to feature a fantastic happy memory.
Absolutely.
Yes, the global nobles are Greg and Amy. Sorry, we found out that this morning. Russian oligarchs. This is going way back then to that rather dark turn we took this morning. I just felt the need to get that off my chest. Actually, I'm always aware that there's plenty of horrible stuff going on in the world. I'm also aware that there's amazing, wonderful stuff going on. This is frustrating.
Yes.
I don't deny the horrible, but I keep my attention on the amazing and wonderful. Well, there you go.
Beautiful.
That's pretty much nailed it, hasn't it? I think to answer
Beautiful.
the question, what to do when things are going to hell? Keep your attention on the amazing and wonderful without denying the aforesaid. Carl, when your time's up and God says come, what? Don't judge a life on earth. Don't judge a life on years on earth, but what love impact you've left. Well, that's right.
Wow.
And that chimes in with the last comment, doesn't it? If you keep banging on about dark stuff, that's might be how you're remembered. And or you might be remembered for your impact, your loving impact on the dark stuff. That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? With many great people in history who've been remembered exactly for that. We love the GuMPers, Global Nobles. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has welcomed us to this amazing community. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. M. The support and sharing of wisdom and generosity is beautiful. That does happen from time to time. Maybe after show chat. See you there, GuMPers. During the pandemic, hey, the pandemic is not over yet. Everybody's talking about it as if it occurred in the past, but we're still in it. Thank you for that, Joao. And this is where Will Thompson took his moment to tell us what he's been telling us for the last, 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
But before we go there, Tommy Cooper died live on stage. I saw that. I saw people shot multiple times in Belfast, should have died, survived, a guy shot in the leg, bleed to death. My goodness, you've seen a few things in your time, Deagle. Over there in Belfast. The dictionary definition of pandemic ended a long time ago. I think that's true, isn't it? It's all in the pathology reports, but it's all been covered up. My concerns earlier on. It's why I tried to tell you about them 2.7 years ago, to be exact. Some people, in the haste to share comments, they're all mixed up here, and that's how I'm reading them. Some people die with a heart attack, others survive. Don't dwell on it. Enjoy the moment. There you go. More advice for us this moment, what to do. I mean, the other thing about hell, of course, if you're going through hell, keep going. That's the other great advice, isn't it? Don't hang about.
Yeah, let's see what's past hell. There has to be another layer. Let's see what the next onion peel brings. All right.
Keep going. Ana, bon dia. I'm suddenly very afraid that I've been saying bon dia wrong for the last. Well, what was that?
I don't know. I got excited.
Oh, so I must contain yourself. So I must be some sort of messenger from God. Well, very happy for you to declare yourself as such. I think we're all messengers from God in our own way, though, and at different times, aren't we? Or aliens are controlling everyone's brains. That could also be true, because I can't explain it, says Will. Good morning, Will. Wayne's in. Hello, Wayne. Remember Wayne Frank, from
Oh,
the
he's
early
banter.
days, of
Yes,
early
yes,
man cave
yes.
days, and we started off as a sports show, didn't we? Wasn't that amazing? Me,
Yeah, and he's been let loose in Tamara, I see.
yes, absolutely, without supervision. I think
Without supervision, that's not
understanding.
good. What is he going to do in Tamara? He's going to go through the ruins. What else is he going to? What kind of trouble is he going to get into?
Walk along the top of the aqueduct, maybe. Words are being redefined every day. I can't keep up, so I remain traditional. The flu is also still here, says T Duck. I prefer arguing about which is the best kind of noodle. That is an argument which will never be settled. Frank,
Oh,
ramen.
here's a better argument. Who invented the noodle? Smile,
Oh,
Carl Manson.
well, it was us Chinese, I have to say,
There
right?
you go. There
And then
you go.
The Italian Marco Polo kind of liked it, didn't he? Got back to Italy and said, "I'm sick of pizza." Not.
Actually, even the pizza is. Oh, don't tell an Italian this. Even the pizza is not Italian. It's Middle Eastern, but it's all right.
Wow.
We'll give it
Wow. Okay. So you came on complaining about racial matters, and now you're stirring up a kind of hornet's nest of your own here.
Absolutely. Even though I love Italians, I love what they do, but there are obviously influences, right? Because a lot of people went through their country, and
Yes.
a lot of there's been a lot of traffic around. So this half of 75% of Portuguese cuisine is Moorish, pretty much, right?
In
So
every sense of the word, it's
in every
Moorish
sense,
and very Moorish.
very
Endemic,
much.
pandemic, epidemic. Who cares? I guess words no longer matter. Gobbledygooky gooky, bojide and dumb. All right, stop it. I just like saying the word noodle. He just got us to say it as well, didn't he? Deagle, look at a photo from the 80s. Obesity, almost zero. Processed food, long-term impact of additional items added to what we eat. What you eat in private. Look at that. What you eat in private.
Oh yeah.
Public. That's profound, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how do you think, Carl Manson,
Yes.
have you changed? Have your dietary habits changed a
I
lot
was
since
looking.
you
I was
moved?
looking at myself in the mirror this morning, and I. This is a weird conversation.
Did you give yourself a wink? You sexy.
I did actually.
Or you
I
did
did.
that, right? Yeah,
I'll
I
tell you
know.
this. And sorry, Stephen, we failed Stephen this morning. For your information, not making me feel so great about Friday so far. I hope we've redeemed ourselves, Stephen. We did go there, didn't we? And I hope we've redeemed ourselves this morning. I was naked in front of the mirror this morning, Frank,
Very nice. Okay.
and I looked at
As
myself,
you do. Yeah.
and didn't wink exactly, but I did think, you're in pretty good shape, fella. I could see some definition. I could see some. If I breathed in a little bit, I could see I got. And I said to Mrs. M, I think I'm in better shape than I've ever been in my life. I've always, I've had a bit of a belly, maybe some man boobs. And I looked in the mirror this morning. I think I'm losing weight, and I think I'm looking pretty good. And she said, I think you looked better when I met you. And that was a crushing blow.
Right into the gonads. That's not cool.
It was, yeah. And there I was, actually naked on every level, vulnerable,
Yes.
naked. And she said that to me. Can you believe
But
that?
here's the thing: those conversations, Carl Manson. I don't know if you realize those conversations are between you and the mirror. You keep it there.
Thank
You
you.
keep them sacred, and
Yes.
you say that to yourself. It's your daily affirmation. You look at the
Yes.
mirror and you go, "Oh, you pretty fella, you. What's going on today?
Okay,
How
I'll
are
keep
you?"
it to myself. That's the problem. I have a tendency to blurt, don't I? And as soon as you blurt, the world comes back at you, doesn't it? With your blurting and says,
Well,
actually,
someone, because it actually, let's not even say Mrs. M. It could be one of the kids, and you could have said, "Hey, what do you think of that?" And your child could turn around and be like, "No, Dad, I've seen you in better shape." What's going to happen then, right?
Yes, keep it to yourself and live in your own little world of illusion and majesty. Okay, yeah, thank you for that advice, Frank. I'm gonna do that. Antonio F with a Frank and a bromance in the house this morning. And look at this, lovely. Yeah, we're drawn to Portugal because of the focus on community and generosity of spirit. Community over commerce, people over profit. We, not us. That is a fantastic review, isn't it? We wanted a place to call home and explore from this amazing corner of the world. Thank you. You're most welcome. Greg and Amy, lovely to have you here. Owen, didn't give Owen a shout out before. How are you fellas getting on football wise?
Owen, how are you doing, Owen? Owen, you still got that shirt for me? I still got mess in my kitchen, man.
The UK has never elected a PM. We vote for MPs, and the leader of the party with the most MPs becomes PM. There you go. In a twist of not abbreviation. What's the word? Anagram. An anagrammatical twist. There, MPs become PMs. Yeah, they're not voted for, are they? Boris Johnson wasn't born in the UK. Rishi Sunak was. There you go. Interesting. This is going way back, isn't it? We need leaders, no ties to the WEF. There's another thing that you can't really talk about very openly without a slight bit of discomfort. Owen's not bothering with that, though. Well said, Owen. I agree with you entirely. The WEF are creating your reality, and nobody is stopping them. It would appear so. I mean, I think your Rajesh Sudoku is a WEF guy, as many people seem to be, and they do have an agenda, and it's worth looking at and probably stopping as well. Good morning from Cairo. From Cairo this morning. What's this? They're going to make a crash test dummy for females. All safety devices in cars based on average male is 5'10", 14 stone. The new one will be 5'3", 9 stone 4. Half the world is female. There's a sense, says Darren, of them sticking together and helping mates. So it's who you know. 'Twas ever thus, right? And we're the same, aren't we? Our GuMPers stick together and help each other out, I would hope. And we perhaps, hopefully, have a more edifying agenda, the sort of thing that the global nobles were talking about. So there's nothing wrong with sticking together, is there? And helping your mates. It's what your agenda is, I would suggest. And you agree that too much power to one person is not good. Yeah, that's centralization. And he married well. That's true, isn't it? Because I think his father-in-law owns a nice big IT company, which will be the basis. They've got the contract for creating the digital currency to which everybody will be enslaved soon. Now, whilst that sounds like conspiracy theory, let's just see how that dribbles through in the next few months, shall we? Okay. I mean, Rishi's...
What if this guy actually comes in? Here's the thing, on an off chance. What if this guy actually comes in and does an amazing job?
Yeah.
And all these folks who are right now hating him for being rich and all that, because all of these guys they come from the same pot. So regardless of who you're voting for, it's the same kind of guy you're somehow voting for. What if this guy actually does a good job? Will we be able to look at it in a more objective fashion and be like, okay, job well done.
Absolutely.
Let's
No question.
elect this guy.
But the system will not allow any man with that much power to do a good job. The system goes against anyone doing a good job. It's not set up, is it? That it's such that a good job could be done, would be my contention here.
The problem is that there's a lot of, it's not just contrasting views. I think there's a lot of conflicting views, and they're all imposed upon us at the same time. The only idea here is to create confusion. Because even if a person is doing a good job, you will never know, because there's so much confusion. There's so much fog out there that you will never, ever understand who is doing a good job or who's doing a bad job. Well, the one who did the bad job was gone in like 20 days.
But you can, if you bring it local and personal, you can have a much better idea of whether a good job is being done. I mean, that's where I am with politics. I think it should be much more local and community based, and people having power in their own communities and influence. And then it's much more measurable and manageable, and you can sense the impact, can't you, for yourself? And obviously there are certain infrastructure things that need to be of the largest scale, but everything's moved, like the money, all the power and influence has moved up to a very small amount of people presiding over the lives of many other people. And that's would appear to me to be part of the problem. Frank, I'm not even going to let you answer that, because we want to talk about knockers for a minute, if that's all right with you.
That's a favorite subject. Go ahead.
You are happy to change the subject there, I know. When I said knockers, as in critics, apparently it means something else in American.
Absolutely. You know, you've had enough Playboys in your life.
I certainly have
you
not.
should subscribe. When did your subscription end of Playboy?
I did not.
10,
no,
15 years ago?
I guess that's not the first remark I resent today. And look, I was commenting on your knockers comment, so I'm confused now. Quite a lot of confusion.
You say knockers, and is nom de plume a gentleman or a lady?
A lady, Sarah.
A lady. All right. Okay. Because the thing is, I was thinking, as soon as you say knockers, a few guys, their little antennas get up immediately. What's about to happen over here?
It is. It's true. It's true.
Yes.
Okay, so I've put the link in the. We're going to have an after-show party now, and I've got a terrible feeling it's not going to be very festive, because Will Thompson has clicked on the link now. So It's 10
Oh, it
o'clock.
will be. Oh, it will be. Will is wonderful. He's just. I told him. I told him the other day. I go, Will, you are so well-meaning, and I want to say this to everyone. Will is so well-meaning, and throughout this thing, he really had some amazing stuff to say. It's just that he's got a PR thing. I should be his PR guy. How about that, Will?
I agree. And look, okay, it's 10 o'clock, everybody. It is time for the after show party, which, as you will notice, is live on air for the time. No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Which
everybody wants to be my stage manager.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, I've been trying to suggest it for 2 years. So everybody, we are now out of Good Morning Portugal show mode. We are now in. We've morphed into the after show party, but I'm going to leave it live for a little while. So just jump on, do what Will did. I posted the link in the comments. Jump on and let's have a bit of a party. And then as soon as it just gets too much, I think we will go private on this. But I think we should keep the conversation going and not have a premature ending. No one likes a premature ending, not even first thing in the morning. Ian as well. Look, everyone's piling on now. Will, did you have something important to share before it degenerates into a massive?
I did. But first of all, thank you very much, Frank. It was a lovely message you sent the other day.
It's I truly meant it. I feel there's a PR thing. Your information, if it's filtered nicely and once it's delivered to people without the technicalities, I think it's got a lot of benefit. And it has had benefit, and almost everything that you have said has actually bore fruit. So bravo to you.
Yeah.
This is what, Carl, you've seen me. I'm now talking about Satan and aliens and stuff, okay?
Yes. Well, this is part of the PR thing we're talking about. Go on.
But this is what I'm talking. What I've witnessed, it's taken me a long time to get here, but the evidence based on what I see in the world, it's like the whole world is incapable of understanding, remembering, and caring about the things I've been trying to repeat and tell you over and over again. It's all there with evidence, but no one seems to care. No one can answer my emails. No doctors will talk about it. It's like the whole world just can't see it. And this is, I'm reaching the point now, going from a scientist to the point of saying something bigger is going on that is preventing people from, like, I can talk to you guys and like I told you all the details at the start. How many other people seem to know that information? None. In 2 years, no one's learned.
Here's the thing, Will. There's an issue here. The issue being that stupid doesn't like being called stupid. So this is basically the world that we live in, where if you start hammering information down on people, they will never take that. Everything is spoon-fed to us. Why do you think that your information, the way it's coming down, should be easily handled by folks? It won't be. I'm telling you that right now. But everyone learns. It needs to be spoon-fed. It needs to be sexy. It needs to be within 10 seconds.
And that's why you need me and Frank as your PR men on this.
Well, for example, you've just asked this morning that you're really nervous and concerned about all the unexplained deaths. I'm sitting here saying I can explain it with all the evidence easily. Why can't the rest of the world? There's one other doctor on the planet like me, or I'm not a doctor, but he's been trying to explain it to people. Yeah. And he's just flew to Greece, Athens, and he said to a crowd of doctors who were struck off from the mandates, and he said, I'm going to tell you what most people don't know, and it's what the world needs to know. And he's explaining exactly what I've been trying to tell you guys about the T cells. The question is, why is he having to explain that to a world of doctors? Yeah. Why is that information not gone viral now? And check this, there was a lawyer who was with him at the time. He's like this famous grand jury lawyer. Do you know him, Rainer Fulmick?
Don't know.
Now, Dr. Bakti explained what I've been trying to explain. When the mRNA gets to parts of your organs or wherever, the spikes pop out of the cell and produce, and your T cells are supposed to see them and then create the antibodies and things. But they're if it's getting to your blood and organs and brains and stuff, the T cells are destroying them. Now, Dr. Bakti explained that to a crowd of doctors, then showed the evidence. And the lawyer who was with him then went 3 days later and gave a press conference. Now, and he said, Dr. Bakti's got the most amazing message. He says, the jabs are controlling your mind. The lawyer couldn't remember the information either. No one can remember or care about the T cells. I've got a doctor now saying the spikes come out of the heart, and then the body attacks the heart. It's like, what do you mean the body attacks the heart? What specific? And then I've got a Dr. Ryan Cole saying the spikes come out, and that releases cytokines, inflammatory cytokines, and they munch up the cells. I'm like, no, that's not right either. Everyone is avoiding this subject.
Ian, I mean, this is turning into the worst after show party ever, because a science lecture rather than after show party.
Go ahead. Ian, you've got something to say. Go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say was two things, actually. One, we had a lizard party here last night, so just in case of aliens and.
Oh, no.
The kids loved it, I have to say. All the kids.
Yeah, they get them young. They do. So that was just apropos, absolutely nothing. Yes, and I was just joining for a couple of minutes because I'm about to start training this morning. It's my morning session. And I thought you'd like to see the rest. There's lots of people training. Oh, let's just open that up for the story. We'll come back to you, Will.
Wow.
Oh.
So it's a big deal here.
Doing, Carl Munson.
That is what we're doing next year, Frank. That is Ian's holiday this year, and we're going to be joining him sometime next year. It's just down the road from you, I think.
It is. We're between Albufeira and Villamora.
Oh,
so
yes.
Villamora is about an hour's walk from here.
Did you know there was a hotel with a running track, Frank?
I didn't know that, but Ian.
You never searched that. Have you never searched?
He's a special guy. He goes to special places.
I'm surprised you've never Googled that.
Well, bizarrely, there's another hotel that's about, I guess, 800 meters, yards, whatever, from here, that also had a running track, or has a running track, except it's all closed down, the whole place. Wow. It's a huge hotel right on the cliffs.
That's a proper waste.
Yeah, it's massive. It's much bigger than this one. And it's just deserted. It's a ghost town. So it's a bit bizarre, but it had its own running track and there's throwing stuff here. There's circles and nets and all that stuff. So proper. And an international cross-country course literally at the back of the hotel here. Beautiful. So it's quite.
I have a question for Will, and after that we will stop the sciencey kind of stuff. Will,
Darren, are you happy to be on screen? Hold on, Frank. Darren, are you happy to be on screen? You're looking pretty hot. You're looking pretty hot yourself. You can give yourself a wink in the mirror, my friend.
Thank you. Is that a wink, Carl?
A wink.
Okay.
Ian, go on, Frank. Sorry.
Okay, Will, I have a question. Will, are you still there? Okay, yes. Here's a question. So after everything that has happened right now, everyone's a big population has gotten their jabs, and the ones who have not. Right now, as far as our bodies are concerned and how we are going about, what do you feel is going to happen? Do you actually feel something like this can happen again? Like there is another kind of, not pandemic, but another kind of virus that might be, that we don't know is going to come about? Was this a precursor to what's going to happen ahead?
That's an interesting question.
This was made in a lab.
Okay. But what I'm saying, are they making something a bit stronger than this in the lab for the pharma companies?
This is cheering us right up. Stephen Wells must have left by now, mustn't he?
I doubt it. Well, I've no idea, but I'm certainly don't spend time wondering about, is it going to happen again?
Right.
The problem now is
you're trying to solve the problem, right? That's the deal, right?
I'm trying to get people to understand why millions of people are dying right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, but no one can care. Everyone wants to give me advice or talk about other things. No one can actually understand the basic information that I've been trying to give you. No one's allowed to care about it. I can give it to you, and by tomorrow you won't care. You'll have forgotten.
That was always the case.
That's what's happening. Everyone is incapable of focusing on simple things. That's what's going on. And that way, they're murdering millions of people, and no one even cares. That's what's going on. And I'm trying to find out whether Satan's doing it or aliens doing it.
I'll take the side of the light-minded people. It's a Friday morning, right? So we're having a beautiful, wonderful conversation. I like watching your beautiful face. I wish you would tell me what kind of nata you had this morning, or what kind of coffee you had this morning. Or look at this, look at this Mr. Beefcake on this side of our screen over here. Like, you know, look at this guy. He winks at himself every morning. Not only does he wink at it, he's winking at the camera as we speak.
Oh, look.
My dilemma is trying to figure out, like, even now, it's like trying to just get information to people. It's like there's a wall that's impossible to get past. Sorry.
Will, we do hear you, but look, this is the truth. That people don't like the truth. You can't handle the truth. And
you started the show by saying you were very disconcerted about all the dead people and that it was unexplained. And then I'm here going, I can explain it. And you're like, but we don't care. It's like, that makes you're not behaving like human beings.
It was all
You're
true.
not behaving like normal human beings like that. You should care. You should understand that people are dying, and it's a good idea if we find out why. But everyone behaves like they don't care. It's weird.
I'll tell you one thing, and I'll speak for Carl. Carl, if I may.
Go on.
He does care, and all of us do care.
Everyone. I'm witnessing everybody.
What is happening here is, as we have look. It's been 2.5 boring years, man. It's been a lot of nonsense that has been thrown our way. So nobody now wants to hear about this. Yes, people are dying. We understand that, but people want to move on in their lives, right?
You'd think when people want to know how to understand it so they could protect themselves and their families and make decisions. Yeah. And I'm literally like right now, they're trying to mandate for kids. I don't want the kids getting injected because I know exactly what's happening. But as long as people don't understand and the doctors can't explain it, this continues. As soon as the world knows the basics, and it's all, the evidence is on the internet, but it's like the whole world can't even read it or see it.
Okay, are you just saying goodbye?
Yeah, I'll see you guys. See you guys soon.
All right, all the best. Don't forget your party bag on the way out. Okay.
Remember the last time? The last time I came on I came on the show and I chatted. Yes. And the doctor's there, and I said, Doc, please explain the basics of how T cells work. And the doctor, who's been here for 2 years, supposedly explaining stuff to you, said he didn't actually know, and he'd have to go read about it. What's wrong with that picture?
Well, will you get upset if I ask you, why are they called T cells? Are they shaped like T?
Frank, I don't actually think he's getting upset. I just think I know Will. It's his passion. He's passionate, he cares, and that's the way that he comes across. I love you for that, brother, because you know, for 2.7 years you've been going on, and I know that personally.
I'm repeating the same day. I'm repeating the same day over and over.
100% where you're coming from. I think it is. You mentioned earlier on, Frank, in regards to the whole Rishi Sunak thing. If you go back and ignore about the voicemail that I sent, because I'm just about to say what I said in the voicemail, is that when Barack Obama was introduced to the US, it was, the savior for the black people. And I'm just saying this, I'm not a supporter of either, is that when Donald Trump came in, unemployment for non-white Americans dropped. When Obama was there, nothing happened. So we're getting all these different sort of things coming in from different angles, and what people aren't doing is looking at what is happening, what do we need to do, and how do we sort out those people that are accountable for what's going on.
I absolutely agree. And in addition to that, part of the reason, Will, I think that people are perceived as not caring. You say it's on the internet, but so is everything else. Yes, so people don't know what to believe. There's so much stuff out there, and so much of it is just flat out lies that we get confused, and we can't pull out what the truth is in relation to what the mythology is. So I think that's part of the problem.
Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, what I'm witnessing is people are it's not like the people's fault. Everyone always gives me these reasons why people might not be interested. What I'm witnessing is 100% of people, like something external force is preventing it. Some people will say they're too confused. Some people say wait for Jesus. Some people just say don't worry, the earth will explode in 1 billion years. But nobody can actually maintain an interest in a really simple subject. And I'm trying to uncover why. I mean, you can pass it off as yeah, the confusion, the trauma, not having the education. But I'm witnessing I'm seeing doctors trying to explain things on the television who physically can't do it themselves.
I don't think it's
You,
been an easy thing, Will,
you can
honestly.
take 3 doctors who all say opposing things trying to explain the same thing. And the reason they're all wrong is because they're all avoiding the actual thing. And so it's not anyone's fault. Something is causing this in all humans.
That's nicely put, Will. That's nicely put.
Me, there's a guy called Dr. Bhakti who you can go and Rumble and watch. He's explaining the same stuff. And there's no reason why he should be having to explain basics to a crowd of doctors with the evidence. There's no reason for that. It should be the other way around. The doctors should be explaining it. But something's going on preventing the world from caring about the thing that matters most. If everyone knew this, no one would touch the jabs. But no one's been allowed to care and know about it. And that's the predicament.
That would apply to many other things. I think that would apply to many other things in life as well. And I think your predicament is one shared by many people throughout time, and it is all part of the human condition. That's not an excuse. It doesn't make it okay, but it is how it is for human beings.
This means the whole world looking at something and trying to understand it, and yet no one's able to.
Wasn't it always like that for humans?
No, it can't. Well, this is making me think. I wonder if this phenomenon, whatever it is, has happened to people. Maybe that's why you find those crazy guys on the street corner, like the end of maybe they could actually see something that nobody else could see.
I think you're right. I do think you're right. No question. No question.
But it makes me ask the question.
I think the point has been well made, and I'm probably going to let go of the idea of having a party here now. But it would be great. Darren, we are still live. We are still streaming the show. This is a little bit of an experiment this morning, a bit of a gathering. What you got there? You're ready. You put your
Sorry, is that live? I thought
We're
this was a private.
No, I tried. I did my best to make people aware of that, but not you, Mrs. M. I don't think on this occasion.
No, you didn't tell me.
We are still streaming. I'm not bothered about that. I think it's important for people to have their say, but I also think it's important to have a little bit of balance as well in terms of hearing a few different voices and to welcome Darren to our GuMPer community this morning.
Hi, Darren.
How are you doing, Darren? And sorry to hear of your news on your sale.
Yeah, that's gutting.
This is the thing I've obviously woken up today from yesterday's bad news that this house will not be sold now because the buyer has pulled out. So it's probably likely that it's going to be another few months here, and I'm already at the point where I'm sat with lots of boxes around me and I'm peed off, to be frank, already. And it's going to be more and more months before I can possibly move to Portugal. So it's quite annoying.
Hiya, Darren. Is that a Yorkshire accent I hear?
It is. Yeah, I'm in Leeds.
Okay, all right. Well, I think what we're going to do, I think we will go private, as it were, and turn off the stream. It's been an interesting experiment, that's for sure, and it's been an interesting show today. Thank you, Frank. Whatever happened to you this morning? I don't know what happened. Do you want to just take this quickly before we finish? And those of you who are less confident or unwilling to be on the screen on the live stream, obviously you can join us in about 5 minutes time for the after show party, and we'll continue talking, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Will, when you say the jabs, are you talking about all COVID vaccines or just the mRNA ones? Now, who would have thought we'd have ever been asking a question like that? Certainly not before 2 or 3 years ago. What's your view on that, Will?
It's mRNA.
Okay.
The mRNA tells your cells to make foreign proteins. All jabs in the past just put the foreign stuff in your blood.
Yeah.
And then your body saw it and developed the memory and the antibodies. mRNA makes your cells produce the proteins, and they could be on your heart, on your brain, anywhere. And then the T cells come along and destroy that. So the T cells are destroying people's brains, insides, hearts. And no one's talking about it. But that's what everything you see.
Yeah, we get that, but Stephen's question is, you're talking about the mRNA specifically.
Now, wait. Now you don't have to call it unexplained deaths anymore. Now you know how it works, and you get to tell other people about it. Yay! Okay. So the whole world doesn't have to be confused. But you're not going to do that, are you? No one's going to do it. They won't.
I think you're challenging us there, Will. AstraZeneca one is fine, presumably if it doesn't have the mRNA. Okay, what I'm going to do, I have put the link.
I'd just like to say I do talk about it, Will. With all of my clients, all the people I'm working with.
Really?
And I have been consistently for 2.5 years.
How come the information never goes anywhere? You know, I've been distributing myself thousands of days.
It does. I think there are lots of people, like when people are ready to hear the message, they'll find loads and loads of people where they can find that information from. Like before your consciousness is ready to even go down that rabbit hole, you almost can't find it because you're not ready to see it. But then once you've asked that question, all of a sudden you go to YouTube, or all of a sudden somebody sends you a Rumble or a Telegram, something or other, or you speak to somebody, and it starts to open up. Like I red pilled my mum. I've been trying for donkey's years, but she sent me something yesterday about SRA, which really shocked. Well, it didn't shock me. I knew about it. But for my mum to have come up with something about deep levels of awful stuff, given this is live, it's quite incredible. So I'm sowing the seeds, and I've been talking with all of my clients about it, and also try not to make them wrong, like, because everyone has to make their own decisions. But out of all of my clients, there's about a half, like a 50-50 split. And one thing that I'm noticing is a lot of them are asking every month about health issues, and I've been really shocked by it.
Well,
okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there.
Just reply to her.
Go on.
Well, yes. I try and survey the world, the internet all the time to see if ideas are being adopted, and so far it's like there's nothing there. It's like nothing's going on in terms of that understanding. That's always my hope, But.
Do you ever have you looked at Cliff High? You haven't.
No.
It's getting a bit specific now. I'm going to turn off the live stream.
All right.
People know where you are and who you are if they want to talk about this very specific thing. My final point, and I will abuse my privilege as the host of the show and the person taking responsibility for it. I just think that forever throughout human history, humans have always thought they have a part of information that everybody needs to know, and they may well be right. And that, I think, is an enduring and eternal frustration for human beings throughout time, and will continue. And I feel your pain on that, Will. I really do. But if it's not that, it will be something else that's dear to people. And that seems to be the soup that we're living in. And I suspect we will talk about now, especially with those who don't want to join us live on screen, but might join us in the after party scenario. I'm just going to play a very random video of some bees buzzing, and then we'll shut the stream off after that. And we'll be back on Monday with Mr. James Holley, who you can see on the screen, talking about, hopefully we'll be back on Monday, Will?
I'll happily jump